No, you can talk to me through the door. Obviously, I'm okay.
Okay, you tell us you're okay, we'll go away. You aren't thinking about hurting yourself?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll leave it in peace. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. What a way to wake up. How pleasant. Please. Oh my God, dude. Like, seriously, is that really what I wanted? No. What I wanted was a fucking nap. Ugh. Looking up by police. Yeah. Just checking on you. Ooh. Oh. Hello? Another restricted number. Yeah. Apparently it is not going to. Shut. Let it zoom in. Oh, come on now. Oh, that's not working very good, is it? What's the purpose of calling me and then just hanging up? Of course, we got another one of the spammers over here commenting in my live chat. What do we do with these assholes? We take evidence here by taking a picture of it. And then we go over to the side here, next to the comment, he typed Ativan. And then I go, hide user on this channel. Blam. That was easy. Alright. You guys might hear me. You might hear me peeing. Happy good morning. getting woken up by the cops knocking on the door is just no fun whatsoever. Oh, a bunch of shitheads. Obviously not the cops. Whoever the douchebag was that turned it in. Mm. There's the way people think it works, and there's the way it actually doesn't. Ooh. Haven't heard from my friend Audrey in a while. Last time I messaged her, December 3rd of 2021, I wrote to her, I noticed that you have not made a post in years. I was going to say hello, but it looks like you have only birthday wishes on your timeline for the past few years. I hope you're doing well, and I am only worried because so many people I know ended up dead after going missing. I should have checked in sooner, and I'm sorry I haven't. And of course, no reply from her, but today is her birthday, so people are typing happy birthday to her. Some people are just douchebags. Mm. So I suppose I'll leave this on a few minutes just in case they come back. Anybody else think of that as a fun way to wake up? Police knocking on your door? Mm. Mm. Obviously, this is probably not a good time for my political opinions. My political opinion is I firmly believe that assisted suicide is okay. I'm not so much for suicide. The reason for that is because it leaves a body behind for somebody to find, and usually not somebody who did anything wrong. And even if it is, I mean, it's a glorious mess, and somebody's got to clean it up. So, political opinions aside, no, I'm not dead. Shane Boatwright typed, having cops at the door ain't a fun way to start anything, let alone a morning. True that. It's not exactly morning, but whatever, right? It's 8:54 at night here, so it's like 9 o'clock. Mm. One of the other reasons that I am for assisted suicide is because what if you botch it? And seriously, you stick it in your face and pull it, or you jump out of the tree with a thing around your neck, and what happens? Well, then you're quadriplegic, or your face is gone, but you're still breathing, or, any number of things, or you're just in a permanent vegetative state and you really don't exist anymore, but people are keeping your meat pumping so it doesn't rot. That's just not cool. At that point, it's just cruelty. It's an expensive waste. I mean, what the hell are you going to keep a meat puppet hooked up to a machine for? Their body can't circulate the blood itself. It's just a body at that point. It's not a person anymore. The thing is, like, yeah, I really don't want those dudes at my door. If they can't do anything to help me, what's their purpose in showing up? On the bright side, the one I talked to earlier was pretty nice. And when these guys came and beat on my door, of course, I got up trying to figure out what the hell was going on for starters. Just not my idea of a good time. I suppose I could see if Dan Favorite's home. I'm probably not going to be able to go back to sleep after this, at least not for a while. So, let's go to my Facebook and see who we can call. All right, I don't know how many of you are getting these notifications about how your stuff is going to the bottom of the news feed because you told the truth or told on somebody you shouldn't have, or you stood up to sexist people of the wrong gender. Like, it's apparently okay, according to Facebook, to be sexist as long as you're a female being sexist towards men. This makes no sense to me. And of course, there's people posting up about a dead porn star in my news feed. And all right, here's one about somebody exploiting thousands from a nursing home resident. Yeah, people keep posting up about famous people, I guess. Famous people dying, and of course, with Britney Spears being a pretty blonde white girl. Those are pretty popular to post up about too. And of course, since pretty pretty blonde white girl said it, then yeah, now we gotta post up about it if it's all of a sudden important. And thank goodness for that whole conservatorship thing. I mean, especially hearing about Nichelle Nichols and all of that. Like, yeah, this stuff does happen. It's not just poor people, it happens to rich people too. It's not just ugly people, it happens to pretty people too. But of course, if a pretty person doesn't say it first, nobody really cares. And the American public is fine with looking the other way. Holy fucking Christ. Although I suppose, even though it is a pretty goddamn sensitive subject, I'm going to ask you guys what's your opinions on suicide and assisted suicide. You can go ahead and type in your comments. We'll see what you guys think of it. Do you think suicide should be okay? And how about assisted suicide? Obviously, I'm actually against suicide. That's not difficult one to figure out. I think Natalie Bollinger did it the right way, sort of. I mean, trying to frame me for it was definitely the wrong thing to do. It would have been a lot easier on all of us if she'd have just told the truth. See, Natalie never said that I did all sorts of other stuff to her, like no sexual offenses or anything fucking creepy like that. She just said that I stalked her, and that was an outright lie. Now, her calling me a stalker because she's a pretty white girl, everybody and their goddamn mom wanted to be impressive. It's kind of like my sister's friend Ed. No, he's probably not going to go kill any cops. No, he's probably not going to go assaulting anybody. But he wanted to sound impressive and talk big and Thought, dude, no. I didn't ask for people's help to go attack people and assault people and kill people and creepy shit like that. I asked people's help looking at the truth, looking at the evidence and speaking up. Now, that doesn't mean that I am 100% against suicide. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are situations where somebody's life is just absolute hell. And in that situation, they should be allowed a way out. Now, people like me and Maggie have differing opinions on that. She thinks that anybody should be allowed, and really truthfully, I do too. But I think there are limitations. Like if your life is destroyed, I think that people should have a chance to tell the truth. If your life is being destroyed by a rumor or a lie, I think those people should be allowed to come forward and given the chance to admit that what they said was a lie. And if they're not willing to do that, then, well, yeah, in that case, it is assisted suicide. And in that case, I am totally for it. Now, with many people, when I was saying help me or kill me to them, the whole point to all of this is that I'm trying to get assisted suicide legal. If Natalie Bollinger had the option of legalized assisted suicide, where would she have done it? Would she have still done it at McIntosh Dairy outside of Thornton, Colorado? She was honest. Or do you think that there should be facilities like a Planned Parenthood facility where somebody can be allowed to go inside and select their own Dr. Kevorkian? Do you think that they should do it in a peaceful place like a meadow or up in the mountains, or do you think it should be a hospital type facility? Do you think that, well, let's say that they want to go and then it's an injection, and then right before they pass out, they decide that they don't want to go, and they say they don't want to go, but then they're passed out. I mean, should they still resuscitate that person or no? Here in America, people tend to harm those who are suicidal for being suicidal. They tend to harm those who want to die for wanting to die. And that's not okay. If somebody wants to die, there's a reason for it. And if they're not going to do anything about that reason, by all means, allow them that option, allow them that way out. And look at all the money that's been wasted on shutting me up after bringing me back in January 2018. I should have just left dead well enough dead. If Natalie Bollinger hadn't come into Starbucks in 2016 when I was getting ready to swallow all them pills, I wouldn't be here today. So basically, I suppose the way to look at it is that it was either going to be Natalie or me. It's pretty obvious people were not going to allow us to be friends. No matter what, people were going to assume the worst and be fucking douchebags. But then again, with her telling me that I was the only reason she didn't kill herself, there's a possibility it would have been a double suicide. You know, and so would have I. And then all these people who want to pretend like a horrible person for showing what fucking cowards they are by showing the truth. You know, they'd remember me for who I was, for how I treated people, for the fact that I was good to them. Now, them coming over to beat on my door over a wellness check or whatever, not necessary. If I'm dead, I'm dead. They can send them when I start stinking. If I'm not dead, just leave me the hell alone. That's probably the biggest thing with Natalie. The thing that hurts me the most. I was good to her. It was people being evil to me over things that did not happen that made this into the big, ginormous goddamn mess that it is. And then there's, of course, the popularity bullshit. Chapel, Nebraska, it's all about popularity. It's got nothing to do with whether you're a good person or not. It's got to do with your popularity, which is in a small town, it's your looks, your money, your family name. In that order. Yes, looks in a small town are more important than money and more important than a family name. Matter of fact, in most of them, it's most of them. What do rich people spend their money on? They spend their money on pretty shit. Oh, you're a rich old man? Well, let's buy ourselves a Pamela Anderson. Let's buy ourselves a Playboy mansion. What for? I mean, really, if you got a 150 room house, how many of them are you going to sleep in? What purpose is there to having 150 rooms to your house? What's the purpose of having 2 rooms to your house? That makes sense to me. You got your bathroom, you got your living space. Voila. I'm a single dude. I don't need a bunch of fancy bedrooms. I don't need a bunch of high-end nookie. Even if they did take that cookie and stick it up there, yeah, stick it up there, yeah, stick it up there, yeah. Mm. Waste. Although I suppose it's going on. It gives me a chance to go through all of my paperwork and dig through it and find all the crap I need to go through. It's just stupid. Now, obviously, I'm not angry at the police for coming to the door and beating on my door. I'm angry at whoever called it in. I was finally able to get a nap, and by the way, thank y'all for coming to visit. My grand total of 2 viewers right now. This is definitely not what I wanted. I got day old pizza though. I could microwave that, try to entertain us all by eating. Uh, it's been 30 something minutes since they left, so I suppose they're probably. Obviously, I'm pretty paranoid of getting rolled over and railroaded. Holy fuck, in court. And that could push just about anybody over the edge, especially after all I've been through. But that goes for anybody. You never know what's going to set people off. For me, being ignored while going through hell, my supposed friends basically ignoring me until there's. At least I was able to help out Victoria. That was probably the highlight of my whole goddamn week. Sending her some cash for food and for gas, and she could have stopped at Taco John's and filled up on both. Those of you who don't know what Taco John's is, it's a Mexican food place, but it's fast food. It's not real Mexican food. And they got these things called potato lays. It's like a tater tot with really super good seasoning on it, and they're kind of flat, like the McDonald's hash browns. They're kind of like that, but they're smaller. They're about the size of a quarter, but they're about as thick. And they got a little bit of spices and a whole bunch of salt on them, and they're just absolutely delicious. Of course, if you wake up in the middle of the night tooting, you probably knock yourself out with your own farts. So at least an insurance policy in case you do wake yourself up with your own farts. I have never done that to my knowledge, but I've definitely woken up hearing my dad's farts. Oh my God. That's something about home visits. You get to remember all sorts of shit. Between living in the system and home visits, yes, home visits were great by comparison. I remember right after my dad got custody of me and my older brother, and We'd been living in Washington State. My dad was dating my stepmom, Diane, and he decided she was getting too clingy. So he picked us all up and we moved to California to get away from Diane because she was too clingy. And there was an earthquake, and it was me and my old brother Eric, and we had a guy who lived down the street from us. His name is Sean Costello, and I slept through most of the earthquake. What I did not sleep through is my dad barging in, beer belly hanging over, and nothing but his skivvies. His hand over his head going, yeehaw! Oh my God, Dad. Of course, if that don't embarrass you, there's not much in life that's going to. A lot of people end up getting ashamed when they feel embarrassed, and I just don't get ashamed from being embarrassed. I do feel shame, you know. I'm ashamed of myself for not being able to find a way to get some motherfucker to listen before Natalie was killed. I'm not embarrassed about it though. Now, for some people, there's later on the embarrassment goes away because it's just a funny story. For me, it starts off as a funny story. That's because, like I said, I just don't get embarrassed. I've had a few people tell me, if we were all allowed to walk around naked, I wouldn't. I'm just not big as other man, and I'm like, but I don't like wearing clothes as long as it's not the middle of winter. If it's legal, I'd walk around naked. If it's your own house, you can walk around naked. If it's not your house, though, of course, no nakedness, no yeehaw. Uh, so I suppose I'll go out and have a tobacco and fucking Christ. I'll see what people are up to. Probably slept through everything productive in my daytime that could be taken care of. It's probably a little late to call most of these places. Oh, and I forgot to try to get hold of Meg. God, what an asshole I am for getting some sleep. We've got these folks who propagate abuse, not even understanding what the hell they're doing. And they want to accuse people of propagating that bullshit. Like, you were asking for it. No, that's never the right thing to tell a victim, ever. When somebody's speaking out about abuse, they're not propagating it. They're trying to get a stop to it. They're trying to bring attention to the abuse, how common it is, how prevalent it is. It's kind of amazing. I started out with 1,240 something subscribers, and most of them don't watch my channel. And it says I lost 3 of them in the last 28 days, but it says views 7.9 thousand. 7.9 thousand views in the last 28 days, and my typical range it says 1.3 to 2.5 thousand. It says watch time in hours 908.5. My typical range 30 to 160, so not squat. Now that is weird for a typical range, especially given the fact that in just a 2 to 3 day period I had 14,000 views on one of the videos I made. I suppose I can go to that. Try to do something productive with our time. We'll see about the missing women of Hardin, Montana. Copy video URL. We'll post it as a link over here. All right, this person calling himself Sayten, Sayten, typed. It's a little picture of a police car and then a little picture of a police officer. Let's take a picture of this one actually. That's quite entertaining. Not for me, but for many of you guys. He typed, "The cops, who needs them? Please do us a favor and go out guns blazing, pew pew." See, that's everybody's solution for every goddamn thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I can completely see that point of view. I personally believe that the cops, most of them, need to be put in prison. I mean, especially if you're going to try being a cop this day and age with the complete and total lack of anything approaching decency. With the blue line of bullshit being used to harm innocent people. It's a pain in the ass. But there's also I'm sure a lot of you guys grew up being told that the cops were the good guys. And if there's a problem, you need to go to the cops and they'll help you out. I got so many of my friends that they just well, they're not my friends anymore, most of them, but they just simply can't tell their kids that. Kind of like you got to tell your black son this day and age, hey man, you know, if you're out with your white friends and they start running, you don't get to run. You have to stop and you have to be completely respectful and you need to this, that, and the other. And, you know, if you're disabled or homeless, you need the same speech. If your kid has Tourette syndrome or autism, and Tourette syndrome it's called a tic, and autism it's called stimming. But either one of those two activities could get you blasted. We've got video after video after video this year already tasering people who are autistic and beating up people who are autistic, and we're right at the beginning of the fucking year. Sayten typed, "You should take up crossword puzzles and zoology." God, I so wanted to be a zoologist. I really did. I love animals. But zoology is the study of animals, and you gotta pick yourself a major. Marine biology. I really liked Australia a lot. I like marsupials. I like stuff with prehensile tails. Of course, you could also go into a different field. You go into microbiology, start learning about radiolarians and protozoans and basidiomycetes and all sorts of stuff like that, things with flagella, and that all kind of falls under zoology as well. I suppose I should finish reading that person's comment, though. Bring it with mental illness, and you can strap a saddle to a panther to ride. That's nuttier than squirrel turds, but it's entertaining. Mm. And then Sayten typed, "Don't have sex with the panther, they're nothing but trouble."
Good morning. Game end of that. When I was in Boulder, I had a lot of friends who were homosexuals, a lot of people in the LGBT community. Of course, there's lots of jokes about that. Like, there were so many gay people in Boulder that often they would group up and make fun of straight people. They called us breeders. Up here in Nebraska, they say, hey. In Boulder, they say, hey. I got that from a guy named Wraith. That's not his real name. It's Tory. What is it? Tory Wentworth, I think. Maybe it's Tory Wentworth II. I can't remember if he's got digits after his name or not. Felons do. That's a horrible joke, isn't it? So I guess now that we're all entertained and all that, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that I've been posting up so many of them that are, I make them on my computer and then I post it up. And that way, if I have a bad connection like I have here at the hotel, then people can still hear everything that I say. There's a few videos that I went back to and listened to, and I'm like, oh my God, this is garbled garbage. And not the kind I used to eat either. It's just, there's parts of it that are missing, and too much of what I'm saying is cut out of it. And it just, bad connection sends the wrong message. Juliana Myers made some little teary-eyed creature face thingies. Juliana Myers, are you related to Michael? That's a bad joke too. So I suppose I should ask everybody else the same question I asked earlier. What's your opinion on suicide, and what's your opinion on assisted suicide? They were knocking on my door for a wellness check. I know a lot of people are against it, but there's a reason I'm fighting to get it legal. There's a reason that I want it to be legal. And there's no reason for me or Natalie, either one of us, to have to deal with any of you guys after what we put through. The problem with Natalie is that she didn't get to see what I was being put through. She just assumed that I was like Tim Beeson. Meanwhile, who'd she go to? She went to Tim Beeson. This is a dude who abused the shit out of her. And of course, when you're on drugs and you go back to the old places you were at, you go back to the old life that you used to live, you often end up with those very same people. Right back to the same Tim Beeson. Right back to the same Ted Bollinger. You look at Alicia Bollinger. I mean, she was on a high-speed chase through 2 different states with her dad, Oklahoma and Kansas. And of course, when she disappeared, and this is the thing about people pretending like I would hurt them, going out of their way to pretend that I would hurt them. Natalie Bollinger ended up dead. Who did everybody go after? Not Joseph Lopez. And then, of course, when Alicia Bollinger disappeared not once, but 3 different times after her sister was killed. Did people go after Ted? No, they come after me. They get onto my Facebook, start harassing me there without. Somebody got to. So I suppose the reason that they called me from a restricted number and then hung up immediately is because it's one of them stalkers letting me know they got my number and they know exactly how to fuck with me. Screw it. I guess Juliana Myers is indeed related to Michael. She typed indeed. I'm going to assume that's the question that I was asking when she typed that, but no guarantees. And it's like 8:30 at night. In 12 hours, I got court. I got a bunch of papers to go through, and it's just too much. Now, I'm sure the video that they're talking about, they don't even say the name of the video, so how do we even get to find it? Christina Davies typed, "Are you okay?" No, I'm not okay. I've been through 5 years of hell. People keep thinking that this is the kind of shit you just get to walk away from. No, you don't get to walk away from slander like that. You will always and forever have to deal with jackholes that think that you did things you didn't. No, I'm not okay. I've been separated from my loved ones for a lot of years. Many of those people are now dead. You can't get them back. They're dead. They're dead. You don't get them back. It would have been nice to hang out with Mobley before he died. It would have been nice to hang out with Christine before she died too. Of course, with addicts like Christine, you know, there's the ups and the downs, and you never know which one you're going to encounter. When she was on meth, she was a skittish creature. When she was on heroin, she didn't want to move. She was just happy-go-lucky. Now there's hell for you. All your loved ones throw you away because you needed help. You get to spend the rest of your life hearing that they died from a distance. You weren't even good enough to talk to anymore, and here you are seeing all these posts about people that you still love and care about, and they're pushing daisies. Christina Davies typed, "I feel for you. This is a horrible situation you're put in the middle of." And she typed, "I don't speak to my family. My mom's been missing person for over 4 years." All right, Christina Davies, who is your mom? Because I could possibly look her up and possibly make a video about her if you're trying to find her. If she's one of them missing peoples that you have no interest in having in your life, I can understand that too. I'm not accusing you of having a relationship either way with your parents, but there are quite a few of the people that I posted about on my channel that have been found. Selena Not Afraid was found, but she was found dead. So anybody that I post about that's missing that ends up still being alive, you know, that's something to rejoice about. Let me see. Patricia Ann McNulty Bowes. All right. Copy. Let's look this name up. Maybe you guys can get interactive too. Patricia Bowes in Maryland. One record found, white pages. The best results we found for your search is Patricia Ann McNulty Bowes, age 50, Indianapolis, Maryland, and the Cape St. Clair neighborhood. Holy shit. It says 38,841 population, 7.1%, 19% poverty. That's a really low number. Or maybe it's saying it's the 47.98% is poverty. I don't know. There's also one that says there's one who's 54 years old in the same place. Go back to the live stream. Yep, she was evicted 4 years ago from that address. No one's seen her since. That tends to happen with homeless people. They hit the streets, and even 11/6/67. It looks like there's a Kirsten Patricia Bose. I tell you what, I'll post up my Facebook here. And you can send me a picture of your mom, and we'll see what we can do about finding her. Oh, it sucks missing family members that you care about. I got family members that are pretty toxic myself, so I do try to avoid them. My little sister is actually pretty cool. She's got some sort of something going on right now that's completely beyond me. She was not like that 2 years ago. She's always been weird, but so am I, and so's my older brother. And I'm not talking like weirdos, like you guys like to insinuate. You look like a weirdo. Oh my God, you fucking sicko, you weirdo, you creeper. Not like that at all. We're just different. But it's different in a good way, in my personal opinion. My sister, with what she's going through now, I think a lot of that has to do with who she's hanging out with and the situation that she's in. I mean, it just drives everybody nuts. But also, I don't know, a lot of people who saw those videos where my sister was helping me, they're like, dude, your sister looks like she's on the dragging ass end of a super long meth binge. And, well, I don't have enough experience with that shit to know what the dragging ass end of a meth binge is. So, of course, I'm going to defer that judgment to the professionals. I think that just like being in a wheelchair, somebody in a wheelchair can give you a better explanation of what life is like in a wheelchair than a doctor can. Unless, of course, that doctor is in a wheelchair. A meth addict can tell you a lot more about what life as with a meth addiction is like than any doctor that you're going to go to at a treatment center. If you want to learn about people, you got to learn about the people who are going through it. Let's see. Christina Davies typed, "It's crazy how our lives end up. When we are kids, we have so many hopes and dreams. Once we become adults, those dreams go away." Mine don't. I still want the same thing that I wanted when I was 6 years old. A chunk of property to build a castle on that I can live in with all my friends. I'll be the janitor, live in my hobbit hole outside, and I'll come clean their toilets. My mom used to work at a place called Rally Sport, and she was the cleaning lady. um, Christina Davies typed, I'm confused. You're an innocent man who did nothing wrong. How are you getting hate still? People are cruel. Well, people find somebody that they think it's okay to victimize, somebody that they feel they can get away with victimizing, they'll do it. And I've known a lot of women who were getting abused by their dad, sexually abused, and they'd go down to Pearl Street and take it out on some homeless person. I've known lesbians who were beaten up by their dads for being homosexual, and they went down and took it out on homeless people. Nobody cares about the homeless until they're homeless, and by then, of course, it's too late. A lot of people sort of care. They care enough to give care packages, and those of you who ever feel like giving homeless people care packages, there are two very important things to give them: socks and tampons. My God, socks and tampons are so important. Obviously, giving the dudes tampons isn't as important as giving the ladies tampons, but also, most of the guys, yeah, they probably know a woman who could use them. So if you have a care package with socks and tampons, there's also the fact that tampons are super absorbent. So there's situations where those come in handy, even if you are a man. I don't think I need to get into all of the hundreds of wonderful magical uses for tampons. I'm sure many of you have probably clickbaited one of those, little 10 uses for tampons you may not have thought of. Let's see. Christina Davies typed, a method addict can teach you more about life than most people. And obviously, she's doing that from a phone. I'm pretty sure because she typed a method addict. That means word prediction. I got the same issue. I've gotten Facebook banned because my word prediction went into word predict stuff wrong. Yeah, sure, the person probably was a fucking asshat, but it wasn't calling him an asshat that got me Facebook banned. I did get Facebook banned for posting up pictures of missing people. I got Facebook banned for making a video about how to tell if your kid is on alcohol or if they're on meth. I got Facebook banned for posting up pictures, screenshots of people threatening my life. That one was fucked up. Christina Davies typed, it's a sick world. People behind a screen are the most cruel sometimes. Oh God, the people behind a screen are not the problem. They're not. It's people that I know in real life or people that I interact with in real life. When you've been on the news like that, and then they've got all these web sleuth shows that pop up like Rob Gavigan, I'm sure Rob Gavigan it didn't occur to him that there were a lot of his viewers who were going to get worked up halfway through his web show and get on my Facebook and start threatening to chop me up into pieces and kill me and my family. I'm sure that wasn't something that he was intending, but that's the reality, is that a lot of these folks have ADHD and also a lot of hatred. So they watch for a little bit, they get themselves all worked up into a tiffy, and next thing they know, I'm gonna go take it out on that SOB. um, Christina Davies typed, LOL, tampons for everyone. You get a tampon and you get a tampon, haha. And then she types meth. And Juliana Myers typed, everyone gets a tampon, haha. Absolutely. I get a tampon, you get a tampon, gonna strap it on. Guys, Christina Davies typed, the people online with mean comments don't bug you. They do bug me, yeah. But Scott DaCosta didn't assault me online. Robert Warnick did not assault me online. When Robert Warnick first came out and threatened me in the middle of the street, I didn't know we had a problem. He just come out into the middle of the street and was threatening to shoot me in the head, claiming some crazy shit about his ex Nikki and how he was pretty sure that she had hired me to kill him, and some crazy fucking do nut job bullshit. This dude's a registered sex offender who's got kids and drinks. I mean, this is seriously some Ted Bollinger shit there. This dude's got a bunch of kids. Ted Bollinger's got a bunch of kids. Christina Davies types, got it. How scary. I can't imagine. And then she types, wow. Yep. That's the issue with court tomorrow. I've been trying to turn in Scott Costa and his deputies, and of course Leslie Snell is the receptionist. And I make these videos because there's, if we scroll up to the top here, this guy calling himself Satan. What he writes is, who needs them? Please do us a favor and go out guns blazing, pew pew. Like, there's so many people who that's their solution. And of course, when I make a video saying, what, you expect me, instead of saying Leslie Snell, we'll say Mickey Mouse or Goofy or whatever. Like, really, is that your solution? You want me to shoot these people? But is it? Is that your solution? You want me to shoot Mickey Mouse? You want me to shoot Goofy? Why did Mickey Mouse leave Minnie Mouse? Because she was fucking Goofy. All right. Christina Davies typed, you have court tomorrow? Yes, ma'am. I have court in Dual County tomorrow, and I'm in Red Willow County, which is McCook and North Platte and that nature. And I'm pretty sure I'll get railroaded tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure they'll leave all of my evidence in my room here tomorrow, and it'll all get thrown away, and my vehicle will get towed. And there's a possibility that won't happen, but there's a possibility that it will. Now, if I'm allowed to show the truth, then yeah, I should be fine. But there's also the fact that this is Western Nebraska. Nobody gives two shits about the law, not even the lawyers. Not the cops, not the judges. None of them follow the law because none of them have to. Who's going to make them follow the law? You're not. And that's not trying to be condescending towards you. I mean, I'm not blaming you for the shitty law enforcement in Western Nebraska. I blame all the cowards in Western Nebraska. People who don't have the, well, the saying is, I guess, stay intestinal fortitudes. Do you have the guts? Do you have the guts to stand up to crooked law enforcement? Do you have the guts to film law enforcement even when they don't want you to? Scarlett Spencer's typed, what all you have been through is such a whirlwind. I hope one day you get some peace and happiness because you deserve it. You know, we'd all like an island, wouldn't we? How many of y'all have fantasized about living on a desert island with some monkeys and a couple of coconuts? Me. Of course, I love animals. My ideal bed is two St. Bernards and a Yorkie for my feet. And in the summertime, I'll wash the Yorkie and use it for a pillow. Christina Davies type, do you see all the people shooting each other on freeways over petty road trade stuff? People have lost their minds. Absolutely they have, but they lost their minds before all this. A lot of y'all that ended up stuck in your houses for months on end. You know how I felt in Chapel, Nebraska. Holy hell. That place fucking sucks. And there's good folks, sort of people that I like, but it's tough to think of people as good people when they're cowards. When they know that somebody's being abused and they don't step forward or say nothing because they don't want to be targeted. And that's what it comes down to, really, is everybody wants to have someone lower on the totem pole. Shit rolls downhill. As long as you're standing on somebody else, they're going to get buried in shit before you do. I mean, sure, you're going to be covered in it because there's still people standing on your head, but you're not drowning in it quite yet. You got to wait for the people at the very bottom to be completely drowned before you're going to get drowned. The problem is, eye for an eye. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. And we're talking about trickle down economics in a capitalist society. It's a bunch of shit. And it's not just our shit, it's a bunch of horse shit and it's a bunch of bullshit. Bulls are heavier than people are, horses are heavier than people are. So if you're getting covered in horse shit and bullshit, and you're also supporting the horse and the bull, yeah, you're getting buried pretty fucking quick. Scarlett Spencer's put a hand up. I guess that means Scarlett Spencer's doesn't want me to talk about Dookie no more. Juliana Myers typed, just give me a llama and I'll be happy. Oh, yes, it's because I was asking about an island. That's right. For me, I wanted to have a castle, and I'm not talking about a Disney princess castle. I'm talking about a Roman marching fort. Maybe over time, upgraded a bit. But it all starts off with a chunk of land. A lot of people come up with these great and mighty ideas for these new tents that'll rescue the homeless people. One dude, he's got like an 80-pound tent that he invented. And he wanted to post it on this website or this Facebook group that I'm no longer a part of because a douchebag named Darren O'Connor. That's right, I'll speak out anywhere. But this dude designed this tent it's got all sorts of bells and whistles and hoots and hollers and all that crap. It's like 80 pounds. This is not conducive to homeless life. How are we going to drag around 80 pounds everywhere that we go? You ever try pulling an 80-pound trailer with a bicycle? It's not easy. If you got to go uphill, you have to get off your bike and you have to physically push that thing uphill. If you got to get on a bus, public transportation of any sort, you're not going to be able to take it with you. It doesn't break down into something smaller. Here's a great idea. And this guy was saying that he spent like over $100,000 on developing this fucking expensive ass tent. Now, one positive thing is if you leave it there, it's probably not going to get stolen by another homeless person. Before homeless people, yeah, they just walk off with it. The police, yeah, they'll just back in and load it up in the back of their pickup trucks and drive off with it. But one homeless person in a tent that's built for one person that's 84 pounds, you're stuck wherever you put that. If you've got a chunk of land, many hands make for light work. If you've got a chunk of land to live on and it's yours, then you have rights on that property. And that's what I was trying to work for before Natalie was killed. I was trying to get a house in Chapel, Nebraska as a rescue. A lot of this is because nearly all of our battered women's shelters in the United States are completely gone. And they're not just for battered women, by the way. They're also for children. And in the 80s, they had them. I remember when my stepdad, Larry, broke my mom's neck. That's my little brother Michael's dad. Yes, Michael comes from a long line of psychos. But yeah, so he broke my mom's neck, and we ended up in a battered women's shelter, and we were rescued by an officer named Jane LaRue. And that was the 80s. And of course, in the 90s, they still had them, sort of. But something happened in the late 90s and the early 2000s. A lot of these battered women's shelters were run by independent operators. You know, your grandma had 3 daughters, and one of her daughters was beaten to death by her husband. So when her husband dies, she opens up the house to battered women and their children. And people really stopped doing that. You didn't have people that were running those anymore. A lot of them old people died, and you know they just never reopened them. And a lot of those houses, when those people who owned them died, they were given to the sheriff's departments to be able to open up a battered women's shelter there, and they were also called safe houses. Most of them are gone. They handed them over to the sheriff's departments, and the sheriffs went, well, we don't want to deal with that. We don't want our funding to go to that. How are we going to afford battered women's shelters and things like that when we're busy paying enormous settlements because our cops are shooting black people or our cops are illegally arresting people? That's the thing about Seth Franco in Boulder. His family got over $3 million because Seth Franco was false arrested. From what I've read about his family, they didn't deserve a penny. Now, there was a GoFundMe started by Candace Bondurant back when Natalie first disappeared. I had been trying to start a GoFundMe, but I didn't know how to do that stuff, and I needed help. I was trying to do that before Natalie was killed. That was literally what I was over at Kayla Trujillo's for. Get the hell away from Ken and Leah, try to work on getting a lawyer, and try to start a GoFundMe so I can get some property so that we actually have some land for homeless people to live on that's theirs. Homeless people can police themselves, and they do so quite a bit better than anyone else. Whenever I've seen people actually needing a rescue, it's usually homeless people that are close by, not the police that you call and they show up 15 minutes after the event is already over. When a homeless guy named Monroe was all methed out of his gourd and he was wanting to stab a 13-year-old girl at the Boulder Public Library, it was Christopher Tapp, who I am not friends with anymore. Still love him, but we're not friends. And Mobley, who broke his neck last year. So he's dead. But Mobley, I've actually got pictures of his x-rays with the K-bar that Monroe stuck in his back. Monroe spent 8 months in jail. They released him, and Officer Keith Steinman left a brand new K-bar. Those are a knife. Christina Davies typed, well, I hope all goes well tomorrow. You look better than ever. I'm not just saying that. You really look great. Make sure you get plenty of sleep tonight and stay safe, happy, and healthy as possible. One of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to save the name Patricia Ann McNulty Bowes. Copy. my Facebook here, and I'm going to post it in the comment section. If there's anything else you can tell me about her, like I said, feel free to send me a friends thing. Y'all be safe and have a good night.